Good afternoon, friends. Happy Saturday. This video should be up and posted by Saturday, I hope. So anyway, hopefully I'm saying happy Saturday and it's not actually Sunday. That could happen. It's kind of been a crazy week for me, so hopefully I have time to edit this video and get it going tonight and have it posted so it can air tomorrow. It's Friday right now. It's afternoon. Oh, it's about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. As you can see behind me, I've got a pile of parts. You guys probably remember that flame bike I was working on, the 1975 Shovelhead that I had. Well, in the past couple days, I've made a decision to take this thing apart and part it out. A couple key things about this bike is the engine has a title and the frame has a different title because they had different numbers. So I had both titles with this bike. And I had thought once I got this together, I would sell this thing off and give it to the new owner and let them be the determiner of the title's fates. If they wanted to separate the two, sell one off, do something, I wasn't sure. But with the state of affairs right now and the way business has been, it didn't make sense to build this bike. I'd been kicking it around for a while and really thinking about what I was going to do with this thing, when I was going to get to it, and I wasn't ever going to build it for me. I was going to build it to sell. And as I watched the market continue to kind of decline on motorcycle prices, and the parts business kind of stays steady for the most part, I figured it made the most sense to take this thing apart and sell it off in pieces. Obviously, I've got a brand new, freshly rebuilt engine. That thing's ready to go, and it has a title, so it's a power plant for someone that's going to build a chopper or whatever. I know there's guys out there still building bikes, and to me, it makes more sense to appeal to more people than to one person looking to buy a motorcycle. Maybe that's the wrong direction. Maybe it's the right direction. I'm not sure. With this decision, this is getting me back to my roots. Kind of how I started this whole Rocky's Chop Shop deal was I have always liked motorcycles. I've liked motorcycles forever. And in buying motorcycles and putting them together and working on them or whatnot, you would always end up with extra parts, or sometimes you'd buy a bike and it came with spare parts and you'd have twos of things or threes of things or more. And what that did is that allowed me to sell off the parts that I wasn't using in order to buy the parts that I needed, and that was how I funded building these things. And I did that for a while, and I got off in the weeds a little bit and bought too many projects and got too many things going on at once. And as you can see around the shop here, I've got a lot, and this is nothing. I've got more at the house that I need to go through and figure out what I'm doing with. And as I buy more projects, it pushes other projects off and into the weeds further, and that's not a good idea. It's one of those things like I want to ride these things someday. I want to get them done, and I can't keep buying projects to work on projects to spend money on things I'm eventually going to get to. I need to build the bikes I've already got in the works. So that's what led me to this choice here. I'm an eBay seller. I've been an eBay seller for a long time. I've had an eBay account since 2003. I've sold parts on and off on eBay for the most part that entire time. And obviously you can appeal to, a greater market when you sell online. So eBay's been my go-to, and of course Facebook Marketplace for the larger things, the frames and the engines and such. I do sell on there. Put them on my Instagram as well. So if you're looking for things, I'll have those things posted there. And why? Why did I do this? Why does this make the most sense? Well, eBay's global. I sell around the world. Some of these parts I can pack and ship and send to wherever. I mean, if somebody in Japan wants it, Australia, China, you name it, Germany. Those are kind of the major places I'm sending to lately. I'll pack these things up and I'll send them along. I know that bums a lot of people out because, these bikes are going overseas or they're going wherever. But this bike, for example, it wasn't in its original form. It wasn't even close. It's got a different frame than the engine. They're not numbers matching. It had a transmission that was more modern. I mean, it had the right front end, didn't have the right wheels. In my opinion, it's too far on the side of restoration, against restoration, than it is for a custom bike. And as a custom bike, it makes the most sense to part it out. And I've done that a lot. And maybe that's been to my advantage or my detriment. I'm not sure. The bikes that I do have, though, that I like a lot, I keep together. The ones that make the most sense in my mind because they're more original than not, I do keep those together. And I've got a few bikes that are really original. Obviously, the 48 WL I'm putting together is very original. I've got a 36 RL that's very original, and I'm putting that together someday. I've got the Hill Climber that you've seen, which is not original at all, but that's got racing history that I really like, and I'm not going to part that bike out. I want to see it run one day. I want to get that thing on the road and actually ride it. From there, I've got the Big Twin Flathead. Now I know that's not all original and that's going to have its own spin, but for right now, I'm holding on to that because I love that bike and I want to keep it together. The Panhead is not original, but that is my rider. That's the only Panhead that I own, and that thing runs fantastic now and it rides great, and I can't see, taking it apart to restore it. The thought is in my mind, someday I'd like to find the right frame and the right equipment and get that thing together in the right format, but that's not a today project. For now, I want to ride it, love it, and enjoy it. And if I never get to that, that's okay because I love the bike in its current condition and I will ride it that way. The Cervicar is pretty darn original for the most part. The front end is not correct. I do know that. So I'm not going to change that thing at all. I'm just going to ride that. I'm going to take it to the parades and the local car meets and the things like that because I do love that thing. And then I've got a couple other little chopper projects that I would like to build and I think I'll build, but I'm not sure yet at this point. I do have that roller that's in the front of the shop here. I do have another project on a shelf in the barn at home, and that's been sitting for a little while too. So I'm kind of on the fence on what to do with that. That's another, but that's a numbers matching frame and engine. I do have a transmission. It wasn't the original one for that. I do have a front end for that. Again, not the original one for that. And I do have a bunch of miscellaneous choppery type parts that would go with it, but it's not an all numbers matching bike. So if push came to shove, maybe I'd sell that too. I'm not sure. I'd like to get one of them together and maybe do a raffle or something like that. And I'm thinking about that at this point. So if you guys have suggestions on that, let me know. I'd like to grow this channel a lot, and maybe that's one of the ways to do that is to offer up a bike build that once I hit a certain subscriber amount, I'll give it away to one of you guys. I don't know. One of you all out there could win this thing, maybe. I'm not sure yet. I'm on the fence with that. I think there's some liability with that, but I'm not exactly sure. I need to look into the ins and outs. But again, I want to get the 48 done. That thing's been sitting way too long. I want to get that completed and get that on the road and ride it this year. The 66 is in the throes of at the shop right now, and the bottom end's getting gone through. I do have the spokes for the wheels, and I've got a lot for that, so I need to take time to actually get that thing going as well. Again, that bike's not original, but I love it, and I want to put it back together pretty much how I got it, and then ride it that way and enjoy it. That's the plan at this point. Other than that, the 75 over here is the next one. I think that's going to be on the chopping block too. And I think with that, the things that are rolling around my head is I'd like to do maybe a point of view teardown where I go through the bike from stem to stern and show you exactly how to, take the primary apart, take the handlebars off, take the seat off, take the battery box out, whatever. Just to show people that maybe don't know what they're doing or have never gotten into this or are kind of afraid to start tearing into their bike, the how-tos. Again, I'm not an expert at this stuff. I've taken apart a lot of bikes. I really have. I've parted out quite a few. And if I'm being honest here, I've probably parted out 30 motorcycles at least in my lifetime, maybe more. I haven't counted, honestly. It's been a lot, I can tell you that. But it's always been a means to an end. It's always, put food on the table. It's always paid the light bills. It's always, got me my next project. It's done all of those things. So for me, buying these bikes in these kind of weird conditions and then parting them out has made sense. It's been able to, afford me a shop and do all the things that a lot of people I think dream of. I'm in a very fortunate position here doing what I do and loving it and being able to do this as a career. I'm not a licensed mechanic by trade. I'm just a guy that's done a lot of things in life, and someday we'll get into those stories. We'll have a little chat or something about, who I am and how I got here. It's something I've been thinking about for videos and a video series. I'd like to maybe put that together because I think people are curious. I know I am. I look at videos online and I watch folks and I wonder, man, what got them into bikes, or how did they get to this point, or what made them, want to build that or whatever. And for me, that's interesting. And I think there's other people on that page too. Maybe they are, maybe they're not. I don't know. You guys can let me know if you think that's cool or if you think that's a dumb idea. It might be. Also, if you have not tried the peach pear LaCroix, fantastic. Love it. I love peaches. I love pears. I'm a carbonated water drinker. I have stopped drinking pops. I'm not drinking any kind of pop or cola. I've also quit drinking Red Bull recently because I needed to. And I miss the fizz. So this gives me the fizz and the bubbles and the things that I like with honestly a great flavor. Just a little plug for them. They're not a sponsor or anything like that. It'd be cool if they were. I drink a ton of their water. But anyway, it's just something I like. And if you guys are looking for, an alternative to a pop or a Coca-Cola or a Pepsi or whatever, this is, in my opinion, pretty good. And I think it's healthy. I don't know. It's water with carbonation. Somewhere it's probably bad for you. I don't know. Well, as you can see, parts everywhere. This stuff is all going up for sale. I'm going to list the frame just like this with the swing arm and the front end on Marketplace. The engine is already on Marketplace. I think I'm going to put the wheels on Marketplace as well. I'm not really sure. The rest of this stuff I'm going to put up on eBay and I'm going to sell it that way. Well, friends, quick and easy video today. I know I wasn't working on anything this time and I didn't really do anything other than talk about where I'm at with my life. Hopefully this video finds you well. If you are looking for parts, I will have these things listed on Facebook Marketplace and on eBay. Obviously, the frame will be on Marketplace. The wheels, I believe, will be on Marketplace. The engine is already on Marketplace. But the transmission and all the rest of the parts will be on eBay. I'll be shipping those things out because I can ship them fairly easily. So if you're looking for those things, find me on either one of those sites. On the YouTube landing page, it has the links to those pages. So you can find me on Instagram, Facebook Marketplace, eBay, wherever, and that way you could purchase the parts if you're looking for them. Of course, if you can't find those things, feel free to drop a comment below and I'll answer those, send the links and all that good stuff to find these things for sale. Hopefully we can make a deal. Well, friends, I hope you all have a great weekend. Hope you're enjoying some beautiful weather. It's been changing here in Michigan. We've had some really nice days. Had 70 something yesterday. We're supposed to be in 70 again today. Hoping the weekend's going to be good. So I'm going to get outside and do something fun. You guys should too. We'll catch you all later.